Happy Thursday. Welcome to Patrick McGovern's Pub on West 7th in St. Paul. We get you ready for the Wild and the Nashville Predators. This is the Sports Ticket. I'm Kevin Gord. Kendall Mark will be with us shortly. We've got a special guest with us today. He is Scott Applebaum from Apples to Apples. And you've been Mr. Everything on this network. It's nice of you to jump in and help us out one more time.
So are you sure she's coming? Because that's, no offense, but I already saw you this week. And
we've done plenty together.
I show up, and she's not here.
It's going to be a line change. I'm going to shuffle off to do some pregame duties over at the rink. She's going to hop in this chair and take over lead vocals. And, you know, as always on these shows, we'll just kind of do it on the fly. And we're going to talk a little fantasy football off the hop. We'll get into a ton of Wild hockey to get you ready for that big game tonight. If you're around town listening live right now, stop on by West 7th, St. Paul. Come see John Battis and a cast of hundreds here at Patrick McGovern's. We've got Coors Light specials for $3.50, some awesome pregame food if you want to get your pregame fix on with that. And it's always festive here in St. Paul when it's a Wild hockey night, and it's been fun to see the team start off to such a good start.
I've seen at least a dozen people walk by in jerseys already.
Yeah,
at 3:30.
Well, I think in Minnesota too on Thursdays they're looking for an excuse to leave work early. It's like in the summer you go golf, in the fall or the winter you're heading to the Wild game, and it's fun to put the jersey on, get out of work early, come down here, have a couple of cocktails, walk over to the game. The 7 o'clock start's perfect. It gives everybody a chance to get over and get that pregame fix going. And you want to avoid traffic. You don't want to wait till the last second, work a full day. It's a terrible idea. And then have to battle traffic just to get here in time for face-off. You want to get here early, and Patrick McGovern's in the shadows of the Xcel Energy Center is the perfect place to do it. So that's why we kind of come out here on Thursdays for our live portion of the show. If the Wild are out of town, we're here from 5 to 6, but today we're here till 4:30. And Kendall Mark will be with us shortly. But, how much do you watch and pay attention to the NFL with fantasy football? Because I'm obsessed. And I'll admit, I'm over the top with it. I just
Security.
Can't that might be the owner. That might be the guy right there, the guy behind the guy. But honestly, I am absolutely obsessed. And tonight, it's down to the last second. And my running back situation is diseased. And David Cobb, former Gopher running back, he's on my roster.
He's overweight.
He is, and that's why I like him, because I'm overweight. So he's on my side. And I'm trying to figure out, do I put Cobb in, or do I stay with Gio Bernard, who's one of two guys for Cincy tonight against Cleveland? But he doesn't get any carries. He gets a couple of tosses out of the backfield, but I don't know if Cobb's going to play, so I'm panicking.
Are you asking my advice?
I am.
Okay, Tennessee
they have a tough matchup.
And Cobb is their 7th running back?
Well, but the other 6 haven't done anything.
I know, but
Bishop Sankey stinks.
They use them all.
They do, and that's the hard part. If he came in overweight, they're probably not going to make him a big fixture in the offense. Even though Ken Wisenhunt got fired, they have a whole new coaching staff down there, and they're probably going to try to, throw some fresh blood out on the field. I think I'm going to stick with Gio Bernard. And as we progress through this opening segment and talk fantasy every Thursday here on the Sports Ticket, if you're a season ticket holder, you know this already. We give you 5 that you can bank on and 5 that you can bench. And going back to last week, we had a huge tout on this Cumberland character, this tight end for the Jets, because Oakland's team is so bad against the tight end. And Aaron and I talked on Monday, and I was all depressed because Cumberland didn't score. Then I did some research here this afternoon on Oakland's defense. The backup tight end for the Jets did score a touchdown. Cumberland had a series off, and the frickin' backup tight end scored. If this isn't enough to make you want to play Heath Miller, one of my 5 to bank on this week, Oakland's having a great year.
Yeah.
Jack Del Rio's done a really nice job with the Raiders. They're 4-3. But they cannot stop the tight end. If you play fantasy football, especially if you're playing in a daily league this weekend on DraftKings or FanDuel, run, don't walk to Heath Miller, because he just went over 100 yards. Big Ben, second time off the layoff. I don't know if you can stop Heath Miller this weekend.
I can make you feel better.
Okay.
I'm in first place. Well, we'll talk football first, then I'll make you feel better.
Oh, both.
Yeah.
Both will make me feel better. I love football.
One we probably shouldn't do on the show. So I'm in first place. I've lost 1 game. Let's back up to last week. Carlos Hyde might be done.
Yep.
Keenan Allen is done.
Kidney.
Bell, Pittsburgh, done.
I have him done.
Vincent Jackson, who I normally wouldn't be pining for, out, done.
Indefinitely.
You talk about getting your team wiped out.
That's all your guys?
And here's the crazy part. I scored 90 points. I know everyone's league is different. I had Drew Brees.
Well, you had 7 touchdowns from your quarterback.
That helped. I had Drew Brees. I had the kicker for New England. And
Who's
Denver's
good every
defense. 3 guys I had, because 4 guys. Anquan Bolden I picked up. Didn't play.
Oh,
so do you feel better?
Now, you must have hit the waiver wire hard yesterday.
Well, you've been, as you're doing your research, there's not much out there.
D'Angelo Williams should be out there.
Here's the fatal flaw.
Because your record's good.
I can't get anybody.
You pick last.
Thank you.
Oh, no. I got.
Well, there she is.
Oh, look at the hat. Looks like she's
Wow.
going to the Kentucky Derby. Kendall Mark, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. Big round of applause from the live audience here at Patrick McGovern's. There she is. Well, you're just in time to hear the 5 to bank on and the 5 to bench. And I know you won't do anything in your fantasy league until we have this segment each and every Thursday. Don't
Is
wreck
that
the
hat
hat
flexible?
Now you look like kind of Indiana Jones with that thing, with the headphones on there.
It's very flexible. Hi,
Makeup.
everyone.
Well, it's a line
Hi.
change because I'm leaving early. I've got to go over there and interview that would-be Hall of Famer Phil Housley. I guess he was pretty good back in the day at South St. Paul.
That would be Hall of Fame.
Yeah, next week he goes into just the Hockey Hall of Fame, but they threw a curveball at me, and he's only available at 4 o'clock. So I'm going to let the apples-to-apples quarterback kind of run the offense with you today. We know he can do that.
He talks enough.
I know, I've heard that before. So what
not
he's saying
shy.
is you're stuck with me.
No, not at all. It's a great team, right? It's a great team.
It'll be fun. It'll be a good
It'll be
time.
fine.
It's going to be awesome. And again, we're at Patrick McGovern's Pub, West 7th in St. Paul, shadows of the Exxon Energy Center. Let's get right down to the good stuff because I know those season ticket holders are banking on this right now. So we're going to talk about the 5 players. If you've got on your team or if you're playing daily, either bench these guys or avoid them. And I'm going to lead off with a guy that I just dropped in my league. My first-round draft choice dropped in honor of David Cobb, who hasn't played a snap in the National Football League. My first-round pick was Andrew Luck, and he has been a complete
You
and
dropped
utter
him?
bust. I've had it with him.
Wow.
I'm done with Andrew
You're going
Luck.
to teach him a lesson.
I've got Jameis Winston starting. I've got Carson Palmer on the bye on my bench.
Okay.
So Winston in, Luck has been dropped, and he is one of my 5 to bench. You get a guy that struggled all year long, the offensive line that's been in shambles all year long, and now you go against the Denver Broncos, who last week against Aaron Rodgers gave up less than 100 yards passing. Andrew Luck is a total avoid at the quarterback position this week, and it's hard to imagine a guy that went, I think it was 7th overall in our draft. That's when I got him. I played him one time this year.
He might have been top 3 in many leagues.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Second one you want to bench, another big name that I'm avoiding this week, Randall Cobb, wide receiver, Green Bay Packers. They play at Carolina, and I am on the Carolina bandwagon. I was skeptical early in the season because they were one of the undefeated teams, and you have to talk about undefeated teams. But what I saw last week just reaffirmed what I believe, that this is an elite team. Yeah, Luck got a few late in that game. They shut down top receivers. Cobb is the go-to guy for Rodgers, and they can lock him down. I would avoid Cobb at Carolina, guys. And I think, Green Bay right now, and again, back to bring it back to local sports, the Vikings, with that favorable schedule and position here, they're favored this weekend. They'll go to Oakland. They'll probably be at a pick-em type of game against the Raiders. If they win these next 2 games, there's an outside chance they're tied with Green Bay in a couple weeks, playing that game at TCF Bank for first. And that would mean if you're a Vikings fan, you're cheering for Carolina to take down Cobb and the Packers this weekend, which looks like at least a decent possibility.
I was just listening to a bunch of stuff this morning on all of the various, morning sports shows, and they had basically a lot of these guys had the same opinion about Cobb. It was like, he was a guy that was a go-to for so many years, but now all of a sudden, and you'd think he'd be a for sure bet with Aaron Rodgers, especially since Jordy Nelson's not here, but he's just. He's got nothing.
Well, teams are now, again, when
Right,
you've
he's
got
the guy.
Jordy Nelson, they're doubling Jordy, and he a lot of times
Yeah.
is in that slot in single coverage. Now, with Jordy Nelson hurt, they don't really have a tight end in Richard Rodgers that can take over a game or play anything deep. He is the guy that's getting double covered. The next one you want to avoid is Lamar Miller, running back for Miami. He's coming off a couple of giant games and off the bye, but Buffalo's run defense is stout. Where Buffalo struggles is in the passing game, so I would avoid Lamar Miller. Kyle Rudolph on a local angle. St. Louis is really, really tough on tight ends, and I think we're going to get a good dose of Adrian Peterson. I think the Vikings are going to try to turn this game into a game they can dictate terms, avoid what Todd Gurley can do if they're able to dictate terms. So I look for Adrian Peterson to be a bigger factor. I still think Stephon Diggs is the go-to guy in the passing game right now of what we've seen. And guys, Kyle Rudolph, and we all like him. There's a role he plays, and he does score when he does catch the ball. He does seem to get a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But in fantasy, man, I don't think he's rosterable right now. He just doesn't score enough, and you don't see him ever put up a game where he's got 80 to 100 yards or over 100. He's not that tight end.
Yeah, he's kind of like Teddy Two Gloves. Like he can win a game for you, but he's not somebody that you want to throw in fantasy because he doesn't make the huge plays that are going to get you a ton of points.
Then backing up to AP, it's a little off your grid, but it's personal because he's being compared to Gurley.
Oh, he's
or
gonna come
vice
out
versa.
Oh, for sure.
He's gonna. I think he wants.
You've heard a lot of comparisons, Scott. That's a great point. And when you get him motivated, when he's got something to prove, he can be dangerous. It's an interesting matchup. I mean, I know you guys will get into it later here on the ticket, but a really intriguing matchup with AP and the Vikings at this 5-2 start. Rams look dangerous. They got a great defense. They've got this running back that Every game Gurley has started, he's gone over 100. He's put up at least one touchdown. And there's always one big play in the game where he gets loose. And the Vikings' run defense has been rock solid. So it's an interesting matchup. Which team can kind of dictate the clock, let their running back take over, probably wins the football game. I'm banking on hopefully AP doing that. That's why I've got Rudolph as one of my 5 benches.
I see what you did there. You're banking.
See,
It's
this
at
is
the
all.
bank.
It all comes back to the bank. Final one on the benching side is Allen Robinson, stud wide receiver for Jacksonville. He goes to Revis Island. Revis Island is where receivers go to die. Now, 5 to bank on. We're going to start with the game tonight. Tonight we've got Thursday Night Football. I'll try to follow along as we're working the Wild game next door. But Cleveland with Johnny Manziel at quarterback. Ouch, ouch, against Cincinnati. And this just looks like free money. Hill is the running back they're going to give the ball to. He's the guy in the red zone that gets the look. And you know that Cincinnati's going to play with the lead. And you know they're probably going to win by double digits. They're an undefeated team. They're going the right way. Cleveland's going the wrong way, especially with Manziel. And so I look for Jeremy Hill to be a stud running back. I'm giving him at least 1, if not 2 touchdowns and 100 yards rushing tonight. It will be entertaining because when Johnny Manziel takes the field, I want to watch. And even if he's not good, Scott, you know something's going to happen.
Something's definitely going to happen.
The money signs, the guys taunting.
It could even happen on the way to the game.
Well, the way he drives and what he does before he drives,
depending
you
who's
just
on
don't
the car
know.
with
The
him.
guy just can't get out of his own way. And
No.
if you're a Viking fan and you don't want to admit it, then you're probably lying to yourself because I would say 95% of Vikings
We all
fans
wanted him.
on draft night wanted Johnny Manziel. They
Yep.
were buying into the hype. Give the Vikings credit for this. They weren't going to bite on that. They found their guy. And who would trade Teddy Bridgewater right now for Johnny Manziel on or off the field? It's been a complete train wreck. They grudgingly put him in at quarterback tonight. It's going to get ugly. The Bengals are going to roll. Jeremy Hill on your daily fantasy, or if you've got him on your roster, put him in there because he's been sharing time with Gio Bernard. I don't think he'll be sharing time tonight. Next one is Dougie Martin against the Giants. We saw the Giants defense in full force last week. You mentioned it. Drew Brees could not be stopped. But Martin's a guy that's going to get his 100 yards, going to get a touchdown or 2 for you. You can bank on him. We talked about Heath Miller already. Find the tight end that's playing Oakland. If it's a stud tight end, put him in your daily lineup. If you've got him on your roster, Heath Miller this week, guaranteed touchdown, maybe 2. Steelers are going to roll against Oakland. Drew Brees, he just had 7 touchdowns, guys. There's no reason to think that he's going to slow down against Tennessee. They just changed coaches. They're in disarray. Their defense can't stop anybody. I think it was the 4th-string quarterback for the Texans that put up 280 on him last week. Drew Brees will get his. Final one, Julio Jones. Not a mystery here, but because it's at San Francisco, might be a good value in your daily leagues. Julio Jones should go over 100 yards, should score at least 1 touchdown. Those are your 5 to bank on. A staple here on the Thursday broadcast with the sports ticket, young lady.
A staple of the show. You know, I was
Absolutely.
going to ask you because we had talked a little bit, earlier in the year when things weren't as dire for Johnny Manziel. We had talked about Travis Benjamin. And I had taken him in my lineup then, and then Manziel went out, and he wasn't great. And he was one of those guys that I wasn't really using, but I wasn't, getting rid of because you don't have to get rid of everybody. So I put him in at flex because I've got nothing else. I really do. Like, all my running backs have gotten hurt. Girls in my league don't know how to trade, so I'm not trading anybody. So
What's going on in the Chickie League, as Kevin said?
Chickie
no
League?
How's that going?
I'm 3-5, which is really embarrassing because I should really honestly be like killing
You're an expert.
You're
everybody
the
in this.
co-host of the sports ticket.
A
I
major
know.
market
3 and
But
5.
that's what I'm
sports.
saying. These I was talking about, for example, like Freeman. The girl that got him in like the last. It was nobody knew he'd have as big of a year as he did, but
Right.
she didn't get him knowing that he would be this explosive running back. That's just like the prime example. That and like my girlfriend that was like, who's G. Olsen? I think he's cute. I'll take
Oh,
him.
my
And I'm like,
goodness.
no, don't take him. You don't even know what that means. Like, I want to take Greg Olsen. But, I mean.
I might start drafting that way, too, though.
Go by looks.
Seriously,
You
it's-
get Tom Brady.
You
It
might
wasn't
as
a bad
well.
pick.
Brady be a good quarterback to have. Greg Olsen be a good.
Right.
Greg
Maybe-
Olsen was pretty good.
Maybe you go with the approach of
ladies.
picking the best looking players. I mean,
Right. Or the guys that look like you. Oh, there aren't any.
No, you don't want that.
guess.
You don't want that.
So, I've just been it's just been a struggle bus.
But
And
early.
like,
You can still
What
rally.
place are you in?
I'm not in last. I'm 3-5. So
I like the
that's a
answer. I'm
win.
not in last.
Okay.
We're going to set that bar.
So
as
let's
low
work
as
our way up
possible.
from there.
One of my girlfriends, Portia.
Her name is
Her
Portia?
name's Portia.
Is that her stage name or is that her real name? Are you
That's-
You know what?
It's a
I'm
little
glad
bit
you
of
said
both.
it because I was going to have to.
It's a little bit of both.
Because I've met a
Whoa,
girl
whoa,
named
whoa, whoa.
Mercedes.
A
That'd
little
be
bit
heck
of
a
both.
garage.
Mercedes, Bentley, Porsche. It's all in the family.
A little bit of both in what way?
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. She'd kill me if she was like.
I'm
she's
sure
sitting
she's a
across
season
from
ticket
me.
holder here and
She
there.
is the best part of it all, though. Is she is a redhead,
Por-
so she's like.
I got a sister that's a
fiery
redhead. You got to watch
Portia.
out for those
She's a
redheads.
fiery
Sorry, Portia.
Portia.
All right, I'm going to pass the baton. You're taking over now, Kendall. This is your show. You've got
Oh, no.
Scott Applebaum with you to take you the final 45. Let's get a Wild win tonight. Hopefully the Wild can keep their hot streak at home going. They're undefeated at the X.
Yeah. Any last minute thoughts on that?
I think that it's going to be a tough one tonight. Pekka Rinne is an elite goaltender. I think it's going to be a battle of Dubnyk and Rinne. Both power plays are clicking at 21%. It's ironic. They have the exact same numbers. They're both 7-2-2, but right now the difference rate, if you look at these two rosters, is Dubnyk's goals against is up close to 3, where Pekka Rinne's is down below 2. So if Dubnyk can hold serve tonight and at least play the same or better as their goaltender, I think the Wild win. If not, I think Rinne is an advantage for Nashville. The Wild, though, in this building score goals. So even though his numbers are gaudy, I think they're going to get a couple through 2, 3, maybe to 4. And if you get that many, you should win on home ice. So I'm going to call for a 1-goal win. I think it's going to be a tight game all the way, and it's a Central Division game. And this division is just light years ahead of the rest of the league right now. Every team wins, it seems like, every single night. Winnipeg won again last night on the road. So even though the Wild are 7-2-2, and we should be celebrating a team in first or second place, they're right in the middle of the division. Heck, the Blackhawks are in 6th right now in this division. It tells you how good it is. So you guys do a great job.
Can I say something before you go?
Yes, sir.
For all the season well, you don't have a choice. I'm about to. All the season ticket holders out there, when you see Kevin on TV, he looks very nice.
Yeah, you like the
does.
quasi beard?
Beautiful tie.
You're being very funny. Yeah,
No, I'm not.
Movember.
Everybody, doesn't he look nice?
Hey, no.
Yeah.
See?
Thank you. See?
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
So I would
Appreciate
tune
it.
in especially.
They're not tuning in to see me, so I appreciate
Well,
it, Bill.
that's sad.
Thank
I
you,
am.
Scott. Very nice
Have
of you.
fun tonight.
Thanks for doing this, buddy.
No,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
It. Kendall, rock the house.
With that, he taps out.
You know what? I never
literally
thought he'd
taps
leave.
out.
What's
I
going
know.
on with you? What's
I
going
know,
on in your
right?
life?
Well, I'm just thinking. I'm like, what did I miss? Did I miss anything important?
He said some
imperative?
things about you, but we can get over it. No, you didn't miss anything. We were
Nothing
only
terrible.
on nothing terrible.
Oh my gosh, it was one of those moments where like I knew I would be here at like the second
Yeah.
the show started.
Honestly,
And-
though, it's more dramatic if you just stroll in with your hat on, and
Yeah, I know this big fluffy hat that now is like folded.
you should
into
come down
a-
and see it.
like in a hot dog. It's pretty interesting. I
Oh,
like
you know what?
it.
It does
It
look
kinda
like
looks
a
like
hot.
a hot
Now
dog,
it does.
doesn't it?
I wasn't. Yeah,
Well, it's not coming off. Is all I have to say because it's a mess underneath.
you got
here.
hat hair. So what is
No.
going on?
Life's good. It's so busy.
He took
though.
all the notes, and it's your show. So
I know, right? All of a sudden, I'm like, okay, here I am.
We
I'm
can
ready
talk
to
about
go.
anything.
Let's go. Like this weekend, I'm going to LA. Listen to this.
Oh,
So
boy.
you're a sports guy. You'll think this is interesting.
I play one.
I am doing. I do talk about drones all day for
Right.
work, right? So IDRA is International Drone Racing Association, and their first big California Cup. So they had these semifinals all throughout California.
Okay.
Is this weekend in LA, and we're live streaming the whole thing on
Wow.
airviews.com. So they have me there reporting, like from the pits, in quote. Basically, like, so I'm talking to these guys before they race, like, what's your strategy? What are the frames of your drones, like, made of? Big competition. And the whole sport itself has been around for, like, 2 years max, not
Wow.
even, and it's FPV. So it's these people where, like, super futuristic. They wear the goggles that they can see, first person perspective, basically, through the eyes of the drone.
I just had a thought.
Okay.
No, it's not. And it's somewhat personal. Did you ever think back in high school that you would one day interview the people that you made fun of all those years?
I didn't make fun of anyone in high school. I was a nice person. Don't laugh.
Well,
I'm
not
serious.
to the face. You made no. That's really cool though.
Yeah, it was
I've seen on your Twitter. I've seen some of the
stuff. Yeah, it's really neat. And these things go like 80 miles an hour.
It's amazing.
So they're trying to make it, and the way the guy who designs the track, I interviewed him, and he's like 32. He's like young kid. That's
Right.
like, he's like, so there's nothing like this. What do you do to design a track? And he's like, well, I really just look at, Indy. I look at the, what do you call them? Red Bull does them with the actual planes, and they go like sideways through these obstacles. I mean, it's crazy if you've never seen it. So nobody's obviously getting hurt. Nobody has to be like
No.
physically active. But the cool thing is some of these guys are like, hey, this is what happens to me. I have like this disease, or like I broke my leg, or I did this and I couldn't do sports anymore. And so this is my way of like getting outside and still being competitive, but
pretty cool.
not having to worry about that side of it. So I'm gonna have we'll be able to talk about it on Monday. It's gonna be
Well, I won't be here, but I'll listen.
you'll listen to me talk
I'll
about
listen.
it.
Your life is a lot more exciting than mine.
It's like too exciting though. Sometimes
Is it?
I just want to pull my hair out.
Well,
you know, in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, like, what's your biggest problem right now?
just organizing.
I mean, we
my
will
life.
get back to sports.
Oh,
but
just organize. We'll get there. Just organizing everything, honestly, because I do stuff
You're
at the
in
Wild.
LA.
I've got this, and I'm traveling all the time for work. And like my boss just told me, I'll probably be heading out to Atlanta next week at some point. I mean,
Wow.
so it's this, and I still do stuff with Fox Sports North. It's just like, I think it's the organization of things. I'm like an athlete when it comes to organizing a schedule.
well, maybe the season ticket holders could chime in and help you organize.
Yeah, if any of you season ticket holders have an idea for organizational tools, if you could just tweet that into me, I'd really appreciate it. Any apps?
Yeah. Well, you don't really shill for the show. There's a show on the network that you'll talk about later. Aaron's buddy, but we'll get to that later. I think he could help you. He's a lifestyle expert.
Lifestyle experts are much needed. Aaron's like over there like head bobbing.
Yeah. Well,
Bobby.
that's a shameless plug, but for later. So sports? What's on your mind?
Sports, what's going on? I mean, tonight, I guess, did you watch the game last night, the Blackhawks Blues game?
You know what? I saw some of it.
Yeah.
It was 6-5 overtime, right?
Yeah, it was one of those games where you watch and there's like absolutely zero defense.
Right.
The entire first period, it
Right.
was like, I think 2-5 after the first. And I live with a Blackhawks fan. He said, "Yeah, we're killing it."
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
no,
right,
the
you
Blues
do.
are just sucking right now.
But you
Like,
hate both teams down deep.
Yeah, no,
I know,
not.
yes.
And well, actually, Steve Ott got hurt. During the game.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't think he came back. I mean, I could
He's
be
not a real
wrong.
likable.
No,
chap.
but I was like, yeah,
I know.
take him out.
He's nuts.
He's absolutely nuts.
I was actually watching the. Getting back to the Wild, then I'll say I think this is Pominville's night.
Yeah, that's your guess.
It's I'm calling him out. I think this is. I don't know what happened with my mic. I suppose if I don't put my mouth in front of it, it's not going to work. But
It's a problem.
I think it's his night. I think he gets at least a goal, but I think he might get 2 tonight.
Really?
And I'm sure he's relieved to hear me say that. But
He needs to light up, man. I mean, that whole line. Well, it's not a huge line. There's only 3 guys, but I mean, the whole Parise suffers when nobody else
Right.
can score.
right, there's no doubt. How you doing? Good.
I like the Wild get up. Killing it. As always, we're here at McGovern's. There is a game tonight, so that's why we're here a little bit early. Usually we're here from 5 to 6. And when you come in, it's $3.50 Coors Light bottles. What could you ask for more? Because they're like $18 at the X. Well, not that much, but they're like excessive.
Oh, I bet it's close.
Yeah, like $16 for, and they're big beers, but still.
Do you drink when you do your Wild show?
I probably should, but I don't.
Well, I heard though the last one went much better.
Yeah, it went a lot better, and I think it was just getting a little bit more used to it, being more calm, having done it a few times.
Right.
And Rusty, Kath, if you guys ever go to the X, you might not know his name, but you'll know his voice. There's Jim, the older gentleman who's been there forever, and there's Rusty.
Whoa.
Okay, Jim is older than Rusty.
Yeah, but
Don't
I'm
whoa
probably
me.
older than Jim.
No, you're not.
Okay, don't be so sure.
No, I don't think you are.
How old's Jim?
Jim's older than you.
Can you say that for sure?
I think he has grandkids.
Oh, he's way older.
You got,
I could. Thank God I don't, but I could technically.
You got college kiddos. You're fine.
Yeah, well, you can still have a grandkid, but that's a different show.
That's a
you
different
doing?
show. That's a different show. But I think who do I? I'm gonna ask myself the same
Okay.
question.
Do you want me to? I'll
yeah.
just stay right
Why
here.
don't you ask me the question?
What do you want me to ask you?
No, I was gonna say who
Who
I
your
think is gonna have a
go-to
big
guy
night.
is for tonight?
What
about Mike Fisher? Is he a good? My wife thinks he's.
Did you watch the CMA Awards?
I did.
So see, that's what you were watching last night.
Well, no, I was flipping back and forth because it was on.
That's what I was doing.
Speaking. Okay, while we're on the subject, what's her name? Miranda.
Yes.
Pink hair. So is
Yes.
she trying to copy Gwen Stefani now?
I don't think so. I think she's just trying to be a badass.
She
Everyone
is.
just leaves her
I like her.
alone. I did too. I just wanted her to kick her little foot up his butt. I mean, who announces that he's dating someone new that fast? That was just mean.
And he's on a show with her, and then
Yeah,
that
they
is a little-
divorced at the same time. It's,
So you watched.
fishy.
So wait a second.
So I watched the CMA.
I was gonna say,
I
because-
found all this out watching the CMA.
Yeah, I was going to say
today.
because you're on me for watching, but clearly you know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah.
like the CMAs.
I liked the teammates too. I think that
Are you a Carrie Underwood fan? Because we started talking about Mike Fisher.
I do like Carrie Underwood. I really do. I think that she's kind of got it all together. She's got it all going on, you know.
She does. You know what's weird? Like hockey players are kind of the boyfriend/husband. Like celebrity,
Okay.
don't you think?
You need to explain this because who else is married to a hockey player?
Well, okay, the girl from Dancing with the Stars, Huff.
Julianne Hough.
Julianne Hough.
She's married to a hockey player.
But she's dating Brooks, the dude from Washington. It's like TMZ here. It's a TMZ show.
She's dating
Brooks Opick. That's
I
her
don't-
boyfriend. Yeah, no, that's true.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
And then I don't know if you know Kelly Kelly. She was a wrestler. She's married to one of the or engaged to one of the Kings, I believe. Aaron Andrews.
Aaron Andrews.
I don't know if they're still dating after his mishap at the border, but
they could be.
we've all had a mishap at the border. So there's a plenty.
Yeah. Well, okay. So back to
Sports.
Back to Mike
Kevin's
Fisher.
gonna kill me.
What just happened? Oh, it's funny. You know, I was actually looking at the roster for the Predators, and I was just thinking about Mike Fisher and how she said when she started dating him that she never thought that she would date someone with like not all of his teeth.
Right.
And so his
I
picture
believe
on
that.
here, he's like, he's got all of his teeth. I think he got them all back when they started dating.
Well,
Anyway,
temporarily.
so Minnesota Wild, who's gonna have a big night? You know who I'd really like to see step it back up to preseason expectations? Matt Dumba.
Yes.
I mean, he's got the heat. You know, you saw last night watching a little bit of the game with the Blues and the dreaded Blackhawks. Like Seabrook had this nasty goal right outside of the blue line, and it just, I mean, there was no stopping it. He just whoosh, right there at top. I think it was maybe one of the top fours. I don't remember, but anyway. And I was like, God, that's what Dumba used to look like all the time,
Right.
and I don't really know.
You know,
What
my
happened?
my uneducated take on our defenses is they're almost so offensive. I mean, not personally, but just so
Not offensive.
offensive. I'll pretend like I'm from Canada. They're so offensive that sometimes the defensive part of their defensemen lack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That probably didn't make sense. But they don't seem to watch clearing the puck out of it. They just seem to not be able to clear the puck out of the net or the zone. I think they're so skilled offensively that sometimes, you know, they're not real tough either. They're not like knocking guys off the, you know, from in front of the net.
No, we're not.
Any of them. I mean, Scandella is a tough guy, but even he doesn't necessarily.
Get rough.
It's my uneducated take.
No, I could see what you mean. I mean, we have always been one of those teams that's fast. We like to be in
Right.
the zone. We don't like to be. I mean, we like to come from behind, but not necessarily.
Well, we are
play.
7-2-2, like Kevin said.
We are.
It's not so bad.
No, it's not. It's nervous making for once the playoffs come around because we're Minnesota, and so we think about that stuff like, you know, in October and November.
Well, we should, because you know what? We talked about this, Drew and I, on our show. It gets to a point where you're like, okay, well, it's early. It'll get better. Oh, and then sooner or later, it's time for the, you know,
Right.
It's the season has passed us.
Well, and we all had the same expectation for the Twins, for example.
Right.
Like, you think that they're going to have this big season because we start out and everything's looking like bad, and then it looks good, and then it looks bad again, and it looks good, and we have this race, and it's this up and down that anyone in Minnesota who's a fan of anything in Minnesota has to deal with.
Yep.
And so our one team that you think you can bank on, you think about it all year long. But I think that is where the actual defensive problem is going to be a problem, because that's when guys are going are going to be around
Right.
being bullies, and
That's
if you
the
don't
problem.
have somebody who can not only be back there on defense but that can be aggressive.
I think we need one tough guy, and I think Chris Stewart was a guy we should have kept.
I know. I was
He was the combination.
disappointed with that whole thing, and you know, he's gone. Cook's gone. What else we got? Nobody.
No, it's not Granlund. It's not. That to
Really, you
me
think
is,
Granny's not a fighter? Because I mean, he's a big guy.
I don't think he'd fight someone by accident.
he would be
Like I
tripped
think
into it.
if his fist started to go out, he'd somehow figure a way to get it back in.
Just suck it back in.
Parisi almost got into a fight though the other night.
No, he's like, I mean,
It's frustrating. I think he knows someone's got to do it.
yeah, eventually. Poor Parisi. I don't want him to get in a fight though, because what if he gets hurt?
You think he's good looking?
No, it's not that. I just don't want him to get. And I don't know how he'd really get hurt in a fight because nobody actually gets hurt.
No, they don't
in
actually
hockey
get punched.
fights.
And then he's got the visor on.
Right.
Yeah. I think the nice thing about the Wild is we've come up with all these issues, and again, they're 7-2-2. The problem is there's 5 teams ahead of them that have the same record.
Yeah, it's
tough.
it is tough, but
Hi, everyone.
I think it'll. Hey, 350 Coors Lights.
It's Kendall Mark.
Thank you for pointing like that. I really appreciate it.
Don't mind the hat.
You know,
It's
Scott,
not a hot dog.
I would like you for just a second
Sure.
to talk a little bit about your show
Oh.
for all of our season ticket holders who might want to become a part of the Orchard
Well,
too.
the Orchard, it's sort of one and the same. We kind of say that we're your farm team. So
Which I don't understand because it's like
'Cause
the
you're
opposite
famous.
of the case. Okay,
you're famous. You've been on TV. I
that's
walked
what it
by
is.
a
You've
TV.
been on TV.
I wasn't finished. I was going to give your whole. You've been on TV. You've been on the radio. Kevin is not as famous as you, but somewhat famous. Who are we? We're the farm team. We're working our way up. Aaron, very famous. So
Aaron is very look in checkered shirt today.
and
Looking good in plaid.
He's got his Movember mustache.
That is horrible, by
he
the
started,
way.
He cheated, by the way, because it's only like 3 days. There's
That
no
thing's
way.
I
hideous.
had to get a head start.
He did get a head start.
No.
He started in July. That's the problem. But so anyway, so our shows, we do some sports, and then we have the Orchard write-in actual. When are you coming on, by the way?
Well, when you finally are like, do you want to come on today?
Oh, I have to
Today, Junior.
You can only,
Because I
you're
told
too
you
busy.
my
I know,
schedule
I know.
is
All right.
psychotic. I need to be like,
So here's
this
the
is
all right,
my plan.
Everybody listening, all the season ticket holders, it's an open invitation. We do our show 2:30 to 3:30 on Mondays. When you can fit in your schedule, just barge in and we'll have you on.
Maybe I could do it this Monday.
That'd be great.
I'll be back from IDRA from drone racing,
We
and I
can
can
hear
tell you guys
about-
all about it.
Well, take us up on our offer. Come on.
I think that'd be fun.
All right, so that's kind of our show, but there's other shows we should talk about.
Do you drink Angry Orchard?
I know this is going to be a shocker. I didn't even know what that was till we started talking about like the Orchard.
The
And
Orchard,
One
and it
of
came
the,
up?
One of the suggestions was Angry Orchard, and then someone said we can't do that because it's alcohol. I'm like, what are you talking about? So
I don't know what that means.
No, I didn't.
You don't seem like an Angry Orchard drinker anyway.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to be a surprise. I've never had a drink in my life or a puff of
Really?
a cigarette.
Never?
That is, I have nothing against it because I
You're
can't
just
say what I was
you're
about to
pure-
say.
you're-
My wife. But anyway, no.
I can't say what I want to
Yeah.
say, but I'll make hand motions because nobody at home
Yeah,
can see
because
them.
well, they did, but yeah, no, isn't that beer looks good? I don't drink.
Huh.
Is that I'm just like this natural.
So you're going to live to be like 150, and I'm going to die at 72.
Probably not. My hunch is I don't think so.
Hmm.
Isn't drinking good for you? I heard.
I hear a glass of wine a day is like an
Unless
hour
you're
at the
driving.
gym. I've heard.
So what other shows are you going to tell us about?
You know, I want to talk a little bit about Wild Wednesdays because
we've both been on.
we've
that.
been on it, and Gorg. I think Gorg was on it once, right? Maybe.
They
No,
said
no,
they didn't
Aaron's
want him.
like, no.
They didn't want him for some reason.
I didn't want him. Well, we've been on it.
I know, it was a
And
blast.
it is really fun. Those guys like have a good time. It's totally like bar talk
Yeah.
to me. You know, and when I went on the show, they were like, just so you know, we don't talk as many stats and all that kind of stuff as you do. And I'm like, we don't have to. Like, we can talk about
Right,
anything.
what do you care?
Right. And because that's not my bit anyway. I don't know all that kind of stuff. And I just go off of what Gork's saying. And I'm like, yeah, that's my opinion is this way, But they're fantastic.
They love hockey.
They freaking love hockey, and they like make me feel really dumb because I'm a hockey fan, but I just feel dumb on their show.
Yeah, no, I can do hockey. I love hockey.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't know. I can't.
It's not
keep
like
up
I
with-
watch the NHL Network every day. Like that's how I feel their show is like.
Right.
Like if that is your bit, which is so many people in Minnesota, they're on Wednesdays from 5 to 6, and actually they're over at Bennett's just down the street on West 7th. I mean, I prefer McGovern's. It's just a personal thing. There's already some Wild fans here. This is exciting.
There's a lot of Wild fans here.
I know.
There's one, and he's raising his hand. He's got the Coors.
And he's drinking Coors Light. This is the best day ever.
And he's what?
He's bringing me to the game.
He's taking you to the game?
Bringing Aaron to the game. You've got
Wow.
a hot date. That Movember
It's
really got everybody.
Well, the good news with the Novembers, there's only 27 days left of it.
Of Movember.
What do you think of that?
I think it's great, but if you actually do something. Like Jordan, the boyfriend, was like, "Hey, I'm going to do it." And I'm
Is
like,
he
"Were you
doing?
actually going to make people like donate to the cause?"
Right,
And he's
okay.
like, oh yeah, I didn't really think of that. I'm like, well, then you're stupid. Then
you just
don't
want to
do
not
it.
shave.
You're a poser.
Does he look good with a mustache?
No, nobody does. You all look like 80s pedophiles.
Wow.
1980s pedophiles and perverts.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
know,
Perv from the audience.
That it is a little disturbing. I'll be honest.
It's a little disturbing, is
Wonder
right.
what Ross will say. Well, Ross already saw it probably.
You know, I wanted to ask your opinion.
Sure.
On, well, not really. You're not going to have like this horrible opinion, but I think everybody in the state of Minnesota watched the first Wolves home game.
Oh, yeah.
And watched the whole intro bit.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
I don't even know how you could play after that. All joking aside.
no, I'm 100% serious too. Like, I was sitting on my couch at home, like, and I had a nice glistening tear rolling down the face.
Yeah, I had something in my eye. I wasn't crying, but something in my
fuzzy.
eye. No, that was. I don't know. Between the players and then his son was there, and it was.
I didn't know he would be there, and then I saw him, and I was like, "Oh my God, is that Ryan? Is that who I think it is?" You know.
And Tim Mahoney, who's a member of the Live and Social Network, did a great job. And Sounds of Blackness, I believe, was there.
That was amazing.
They're really unbelievable.
That was absolutely amazing.
It was and you know what? It was very unique. I don't think there's been tributes to people before, you know, in all sports, and that was about as unique when you have the two teams out there and they're singing, and it was. I mean, it was tough. It's heartbreaking. Again, I don't know how. I think what happened to the Wolves, not to analyze the game, is they got off and they had the emotion and they were pumped up, and then I think it just got sucked out of them by the end of the game.
Yeah, it was really too bad. And I think everybody who was watching the game can agree that there were some calls at the end of it that were a little fishy. I mean, the tip-in with, what's his name, Wiggins, you could call that the way they did. You know, I understand that.
But there was multiple calls.
But the two that were after it was like, did it touch the rim? Did it not touch the rim? And then the whole holding during the jump ball, it's like...
I've never seen I've never seen a foul called on a jump ball.
I haven't either. And if there's like, just redo it.
That's what they usually do.
I know.
Or at least just give the ball because it was a violation. I've never seen an actual foul called. Yeah, the problem with the Wolves, they don't have a lot of room for error. So
no.
If it's rolling, it's good. But
if it's not, it's not. And when we seemed like we were on a roll, and
they'll be exciting.
I think so too. Even if you're not a huge basketball fan, if you're just a casual fan, I think anyone can appreciate a really young team that was brought together by one man.
Right.
And now he's gone. So there's going to be that extra bit of like passion and pressure almost.
I actually have a Flip Saunders story, and
Yeah?
this is I was going to tell it on ours, and I've totally forgot because everybody you hear says what a nice guy he is.
Right.
So last year, for my wife's birthday, we went to the Lady Antebellum concert. I know, get over the fact that I was at a country, but it was at Grand Casino. Mm-hmm. So we drive there, we go into the casino because we're early. I go in the bathroom. I'm washing my hands. I look to my left. It's Flip Saunders.
And you're like,
and he's looking at me, and I go, Coach, how are you? And he says, great, how are you doing? I said, good. He goes, you're not here to gamble. You must be here for the concert. I said, well, what? So we start chatting. So I said, well, what's going on? So it was right when they agreed to the Wiggins trade.
Okay.
But didn't complete it yet. So I said, well, congratulations on the trade. He says, no, we don't have a trade. I said, well, congratulations on agreeing in principle. And he says, yeah, it's closer to that. He says, so then we're talking, and we're talking as we're walking out. Like, we've known each other forever. My wife goes, was that Flip Saunders? I said, yeah. He goes, he was talking to you?
Like, stop sounding so shocked.
Yeah. Well, I was shocked. I said, yeah. She goes, what were you talking about? I said, well, just nonsense. He was, and I'd run into him before a few times, but just a guy in a bathroom.
Just hanging out and talking.
Well, yeah.
Not really hanging out in the bathroom.
Yeah, let's read. But honestly, and I don't know if anyone, you never hear anything other than those kind of stories
just
about
good
him.
things. Yeah, and on the show, I mentioned kind of not anything similar. Like, we didn't have any conversations, but just how good of a dad he was. I mean, and I don't know that for a fact. Like, I wasn't at their house, but dads don't come to dance competitions. That's all there is to it. And especially,
I heard you say that before.
Like, especially when his girls danced at a really big dance studio. That they were really good. They were amazing, and they showed a little bit of that in the tribute. But they were phenomenal dancers. And those kids go to a competition or a convention every weekend. So it's not like you'd be missing out to miss one, but I never was at one that they were at that he wasn't there. And
that's amazing.
I think that just speaks volumes. I taught for years and years, and I can probably say out of teaching dance or assisting for 10 years, which is a long time for being 25, but probably only a handful of dads that showed up at most of the competitions. Wow. And one of them was my dad. So I think that
it's very, very sad. And I think the one thing, and it can certainly change, but I think the one kind of encouraging thing is that this group of Timberwolves, for the first time in a long time, actually seem like they want to be here.
Right.
I mean, it's so different than I got drafted, I'll get my 3 years in like Love, and then I'm gone. They seem to, not getting that can change, but they seem to want to be here and now, even more than ever, have a purpose.
To do it.
Right.
Right. It was funny on the way over here, I was listening to the radio, and they were talking about how over at Cleveland, they'd gotten these new uniforms, and LeBron had ripped off
he had to rip his sleeves off last night
because he was like, I just wasn't shooting well. I mean, he's done stuff like that before.
Right.
Like, that's his jam, and he's an
right. I saw the picture of it. It's just it's pretty funny.
He's one of the all-time greatest. So you can't think that he's wrong. He knows.
I don't know where they came up with these short sleeve shirts all of a sudden.
I don't get that either. And when the Wolves, I just think that that's ugly and weird looking.
It doesn't even. It looks more awkward than anything.
Right.
It doesn't even look like it's comfortable.
They look like soccer uniforms, kind of, to me.
Not that there's anything wrong with soccer.
No, but they just look like them.
But for soccer players,
right? And they don't use their arms.
They
don't use their hands unless you're a goalie. So.
Sister, you're preaching to the choir. I totally get it.
I don't like it, but they were talking about how he. Kevin Love had fallen over at one point, and how he was within inches of him, and he just kind of stepped around him.
He is not very likable.
And he's just a piss poor human being. Honest to God. I mean, I've heard stories from so many people that worked for the Wolves and were the in-arena host or worked behind the scenes and didn't maybe mean a ton to him because he didn't have to work well with them, but he would just treat them like crap, and it's that just says so much about your character to me.
Oh, I totally agree. So Torrey Hunter retired. I don't know. Am I going off?
Nope. I like it.
So Torrey Hunter retired today, and he said something about Kirby Puckett. And he said that he used to watch him all the time, and he would treat the guard, the usher, the ball. They treat everybody the same, and he said that he really made it an effort. I'm sure they all have their moments, but he said he really made it a conscious effort. That's what he was going to do for his career.
Right.
To your point, I mean, you're making $20-some million, and Kevin Love did not come from some deprived childhood either.
No.
He's had it very nice, has a very nice life. It just fake it.
Right.
Just fake it.
Especially under that scope. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've had even just a few moments where I'll go somewhere, and I'm one of those people that I don't expect you to know who I am.
Well, who doesn't?
But really, you walk into the X, and it's this crazy place, and there's so many, the players and people have been there forever. I don't think anybody knows me. Or walking into somebody's office, like Jordan's office, I don't expect they don't have time to know who I am. I don't think about it, but Jordan will say, hey, can you say hi to so-and-so, the one secretary, because she thinks that you're kind of a B because you don't say hi to her. And I'm like, what? No, I just don't think that she would care to spend the time. Just I don't want to bug her. And so to me, there's also that aspect of people are looking at you. No, you have to be conscious of it.
I say hi to everybody.
Well, and I think maybe I need to get better at that because I don't ever mean it in a rude way. I'm literally just don't think anybody's ever paying attention to me.
Well,
and so
you got to realize you are famous. And guys
I'm not that much though. So I mean,
enough. But guys like Kevin Love should really know that,
right?
And that's the point.
That is people have your jersey.
Right, a lot of people do.
Come on, man.
And have to sit and that to me, and it's easier said than done. I know, and everybody's got their deal, but that's to me the most with athletes or celebrities, I guess. I mean, it could go both ways.
It's just dumb.
I know when. I'm famous. I'll stay humble.
It'll be really nice. Hey, Wild fans.
Hey there.
We like it. 350 Coors Lights. Just so you know. Yeah, 350 Coors Lights. Kind of looks to me like I was a crazy person.
That kind of went well.
It kind of went well.
See, now don't you feel better? You said hi to the first. Just after saying that.
I'm just working on it,
I told you we'd solve a few problems today.
We're going to solve problems. So, I just got to ask you.
Yeah.
Because the weekend is coming up, and it's just that time. What do you think... Okay, let's talk first about the Vikings.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to have a big game, and why?
I think the Vikings are going to... I think they're going to throttle them. I really do.
Really?
I don't...
Throttle?
Let me tell you, and I'm not really a homer. I'm pretty realistic. I just have a gut feeling that this is going to be a big game. I think Teddy's going to play well. I do think Peterson is motivated because he's sitting in... And actually, in Gurley's defense, I've heard a lot of interviews with him, and he just says nothing but nice things about AP.
Yeah, and AP actually has said he's like really impressed by him.
Yeah,
so.
and they are similar, but I just think he's motivated. We haven't been home for a few weeks. 5-2 is pretty good. 6-2 is even. I think everything's in the cards for a huge game.
I hope so.
I know. I could be Monday. When you come on our show, you'll tell me what an idiot I was. But
I always like doing that with
Do
Korg.
you?
He's God, who was
Is
it?
he wrong
like
a lot?
Oakland, for example. For like weeks, we were talking about how terrible Oakland was and how we had it in the bag this week. And now, like last week, he was like, "God, like
now he's scared."
Oakland,
Right.
they're really good." Like I remember at one point, I had 2 Oakland players on my fantasy roster, and he was like, "Why are you doing that?" And
Do
now
you
it's like-
keep notes at home every time he's wrong?
I wish I did, because sometimes he calls himself out too. You know.
Yeah, but it'd be way better if you did.
I just don't make bold enough statements for anyone to call me out as being wrong, but
That's a challenge.
that's
I'll keep that in mind.
you just keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay,
Strike
so
that.
this is what I think.
Okay.
All right. So I'm thinking Stephon Diggs is going
Oh, yeah.
to, do well, but I think that everybody, they have to know at this point
He's a little
that
hurt,
is our
though.
guy, right? And he's a little hurt, and it's like, so I don't think he's going to have the game that he always does.
But then we got Johnson back.
I'm looking not at just Charles Johnson, Jarius Wright.
Yeah, where's he been?
I really like him. I just love him as in the slot, like slot receiver.
Yeah.
Like he's the man, and he's the guy that you just don't think of.
Because he hasn't been really around for the last few weeks.
Right.
It's his time.
But last
Good call.
year, end of the season, I mean, he was.
Oh, no.
He was the guy.
And he was at the beginning of this year, and then
Yeah.
I think other things have happened. So we have a lot of weapons.
We do, but I think that's
I think it's going to be a good day. I really do.
I'm going to be really bold.
Oh, here
You
we go.
ready?
Write it
I'm
down.
going to make a
Aaron.
bold prediction.
I'm
It's
so
gonna be really
excited.
exciting. I think he's going to get 2 touchdowns.
Boom. There it is.
What, Aaron? What?
Aaron, you disagree?
That's a lot. Does he have 2 touchdowns in his career?
Whoa.
Whoa, you're
Oh,
being
that's outrageous.
aggressive. I have no idea.
Yes,
actually. That's a good question.
No,
No, I
Jarius
mean, like,
Wright?
I'm sorry, in one game. I don't know if he has 2 in one game.
Oh, they gave him a pretty big contract.
I like him.
I like him.
I don't
Thanks,
know,
Movember.
yeah.
You just take your stash on out of this conversation.
You know you're going to see this twice a week for like 4 more weeks.
I know. I'm just going to find a way to not be here. Oh.
Poor
okay,
Aaron.
So
Well, at least Ross loves you. We'll talk about that later.
opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Do you know Ross?
I don't know.
Ross from the Good Podcast?
I don't know if I've met him physically.
You know what? There's so much there. I'm not even going to go there.
Okay,
But
anyway, now we're going to talk about Todd Gurley, Tavon Austin, Nick Foles. No, I really have nothing to say about any of
No,
those guys.
you know what?
I
We should
just
both
had to
stop
change-
right now.
I just had
Get
to
back to
change-
sports.
I had to change
Sports.
the subject. By the way, I know we were talking about fantasy, but how are your fantasy teams doing?
Oh, that is what you missed. I've got 1 loss.
Right.
But last week, Vincent Jackson out. Carlos Hyde out. Bell from
Hide your
Pittsburgh
kids.
out.
Ooh.
Keenan Allen out. I might not win another game, and I'm in first place. So
I might not win another game.
honestly, I'm in our league. You know, there's no one to pick up, and plus,
No,
in
that's
first
my
place.
problem.
I'm in first place, so everybody gets picked up before I even get a chance. I'm in big trouble, and I've only lost 1 game.
That's unfortunate.
Half my team's out.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, look at my top picks this year. This is not a joke. This is
No, I know.
within the 4. I think this maybe top 3 or 4 of my picks. DeMarco Murray. It's been
Yeah, I don't get that.
Andrew Luck,
right?
Arian Foster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing.
I have Bell. I had Bell. Bell and Hyde, which were great at the beginning, and my receivers were AJ Green, Keenan Allen, Vincent Jackson.
Keenan Allen. Where did he go?
He's out.
Oh, he's totally out now.
Yeah, he ruptured his spleen.
Oh my God. Yes.
He was the second leading receiver. AJ
Yes.
Green wasn't. AJ Green was like my back. Well, he wasn't my backup, but
He's my backup.
so it was going really well, and it's going well till the next game, and then I'm done. I'm finished.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I know.
I just want to keep it on the football track just for a second because
You don't want to talk Gophers. Please don't talk Gophers.
I want to talk about the Gophers.
Oh my God, I knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming.
Please.
P.S. We're not going to talk about the Michigan game because that was painful and horrific, and it's been talked about enough at this point. Do you think,
No.
because Gorgon, no. What do you think I'm going to ask? What did you think I was going to ask?
Do I think they're gonna win?
No, do you think they're going to make a bowl?
Oh, I just hate. No, I don't.
if we did, other than Illinois, who would be the team we would beat?
That's
Ohio
what
State, Iowa, Wisconsin.
Thank
What do
you.
you think?
That's the problem. Now, at home, I would have said maybe they could beat Wisconsin at home, but I don't know. I don't know who they can beat. I really don't.
I don't really know who they
And
can
I'm not
beat
saying
either.
that's the problem I have. When you get a chance, just going back to the Michigan game, how about if the guy could just get off his knee? Just all he had to do was fall into the end zone. We wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Why was that so hard?
Exactly. He had needed another foot. Just dive in. Don't put your knee down.
I couldn't handle it.
So I don't know. I hate to say it. I don't think they're going to go to a bowl game.
Really?
I can't figure. Well, your question was great. I don't see who they're going to beat.
I don't see who they're going to beat either.
They're not going to win a game on the road. Maybe, just maybe. But the problem is, by the time they've even played Wisconsin, it might be so down. I don't know. Aaron, do you have
Something
a
just
thought?
walked by that smelled really good. Did you smell that?
That was that lady, but I didn't want to say
No,
it.
it smelled like pot pie or something.
Turkey sandwich. I'm getting one after this. And
It was the
we are
turkey
gonna beat
sandwich?
Wisconsin.
We are going to beat Wisconsin?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
We're going to beat Wisconsin.
But that won't get us to a bowl. That'll only be 5 wins.
And Illinois.
Oh, wait,
And
there's
Illinois.
LeBron ripping his jersey.
Oh, good. I'm glad I can see it. Oh, there it is.
There's the aftermath.
He
Those
kind
are
of looks
ugly.
like he looks like a Trojan or one of those
The
old
US
fighters
yeah.
of days.
Those are weird uniforms. I don't get it.
And so besides Gopher football, since that's a epic.
How about
dismal,
Gopher
horrible-
volleyball?
Okay, I don't know a ton about Gopher volleyball, so you're
They're
laughing
fourth
at me.
in the
like-
country. They're fourth. They're fourth in the country.
They're fourth in the country.
Absolutely.
I know that they've never had a terrible team.
They
I just
beat-
haven't paid a ton of attention.
They
to
beat
it.
Nebraska at Nebraska for the first time, and I don't know how long. They have a big game coming up with Penn State, I believe. Aren't you shocked at my Gopher volleyball knowledge?
Yeah, that's my next. Where?
Well, that's where I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, but I can't tell you anything more about it. But that's Gopher volleyball. Go ahead. Continue.
I have nothing.
I just want to thank everyone. I know I'll never be back on this show, so I just want to thank everyone. Wild Wednesday, it went similar to this, and they don't even mention my name.
That's sweet.
I know.
You know what has been in the headlines a lot?
What?
Gopher women's hockey. Have you heard about this? They've been
They
out.
lost, though, this year, right?
Well, oh yeah, they lost. But I mean, there were some 8-1, 9-1. God, where? I can't find it. But they're always 6-time national champions, I
Yeah,
want to say,
no,
right?
yeah.
6.
They
They're
lose,
9,
3
let's
games
see,
a year.
they're 9-1 right now. Yeah, they lost at North Dakota. That's what it was.
I got a bold suggestion.
What?
I'm going to throw this out there. I think the Gopher women's team should play in Mariucci, and the Gopher men should play in Ritter.
Hallelujah to that.
Because-
Gopher women kill it.
And the
kill
men,
it.
no one watches the men, and they've got some issues.
What do you think if they're going to have another losing season? Do you think Lucia's around, or what do you think?
Here's what I think.
Yes.
I think they got to do one of two things. They either need to get rid of him, or they need to bring in Canadian and player. Doug Woog's biggest problem was you probably weren't even alive, but Doug Woog's.
you.
It was all Minnesota kids, which was fun and it was
Yeah.
great and it was a great idea. Well, now there's a lot more hockey teams. So then Lucia first got her. We got some guys from North Dakota. We got Kessler from Wisconsin. We brought guys in. Not that I don't think we should have a lot of players from the state. I don't think you can win anymore with just kids from Minnesota. The majority of them, but you need some big, tough kids, whether it's Canada, out east. And I think that's what they need to go back to a little bit.
Do you think kids from out east would come here, though? I mean, they have so many good
Well,
teams to choose from out there already.
That's part of the problem. Even 6-7 years ago, the Minnesota was the place for college hockey.
Yeah.
Now there are so many other choices. You're right. That is, but you could try.
Could try.
Well, I'm not saying we don't try.
Make an effort. What other sports have we not touched on today?
Professional wrestling.
Professional wrestling. I didn't know there was such a thing. Continue.
Oh, come on. I will bet you your boyfriend watches professional wrestling behind your back.
You mean like WWE wrestling?
Thank you.
Okay. Those two
Here we go.
words
I knew.
don't go together in any format, context,
What?
nothing.
What doesn't go together?
Okay, three
Oh, the
words.
profession-
WWE professional
Okay.
wrestling.
They
Those
used to
three
call it pro wrestling. You're right.
should not.
Sports entertainment.
They should not ever be in the same sentence.
So you watch WWE, though.
No, I don't. I haven't watched it since The Rock. Sorry, I have
My
something in
wife
my eye.
stopped
Can you see me
watching.
making these really weird faces right now? I feel like
Yeah,
you're checking out
I
like
thought-
what's happening.
My wife doesn't watch it anymore since he left either. So
That was the heyday of it. That and
But, he's
Hollywood
back.
Hulk Hogan. He was
The
my
Rock
jam.
wrestled last. The Rock. The big rumor is The Rock and Ronda Rousey will be wrestling at WrestleMania, which is in Dallas this year.
Yeah, right. Ronda Rousey would kill him.
No, not The Rock. Well, first of all, I'm
Oh,
not.
okay. That was like the context I was seeing it in, which was like I'm so confused. 'Cause
Yeah,
why are the
no,
Rock
they would
and
be a
Ronda
tag
Rousey?
team. They would be
I
a
thought it was
tag
going to be
team.
like a joke thing.
No, well,
a bit.
it sort of is. But Ronda Rousey showed up at WrestleMania last year.
30. What is it? 38 seconds. 38 seconds. That's
Do you
her?
watch that stuff?
I watch a little bit. I watch Ultimate Fighter on Fox.
Oh, the show.
Yeah, I'll watch the show. I have to close my eyes occasionally.
I agree. And I listen. I've played sports. I've seen just gruesome. When they're just, I have trouble watching it.
I can't. And I'm watching it, and the boyfriend's like, he's got the wrestler mentality of like he sees these really awkward positions, and he just is like, oh yeah, that's the da 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 da.
The front crotch.
And I'm like, that is horrible. Like that looks so incredibly painful. I would have dislocated everything at this
Right.
point already. And then you watch any kind of documentary you watch on Ronda Rousey, they always have that one where she like snapped that girl's elbow.
And I don't know how. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I don't know how she can. See, you said hi. That's very good.
I'm getting there.
I know. Don't you feel good?
I like clenched my fist.
Granted,
'cause
they
I'm
just
so
walked
nervous.
right by us, but it didn't really
I
matter.
know.
But
It's
yeah,
good
I don't know.
practice.
First of all, I don't know how her opponents who have seen this now for 15 fights allow themselves to even get into that thing. Like she just gets near him and boom, they're in that move or in that hold.
I would just keep trying to kick her in the head.
Yeah, I wouldn't even fight her.
Or I'd just run. I'd try to kick her in the head once, and I'd run really fast.
Are you a
the
soccer
direction.
fan?
I watch soccer. I watched like the Women's Cup. I never
Right.
played it.
Nah.
So it's hard for me to speak on it because I.
Well, I wasn't
don't
going to
know.
ask you to analyze. I was just curious. We're talking multiple sports. Since this is
Oh,
kind of
yes.
a free for all since Kevin left. Do you,
I know, it's so
Speaking
funny.
of that, is there anything you want to say about him while he's gone? Maybe we could help you with that. He's not going to listen.
No.
He'll hear the beginning and then turn it off.
So when I was with FSN and like doing the Fox Sports North Girl things, I knew I wanted to eventually move on and like get
Right.
more into the sports reporting side because that's what I went to school for. That's what I wanted to do. And I was like, God, who could I shadow under that will actually be like nice to me and not make me feel like really
Right.
intimidated to the point of being like worthless? Kevin Gorg. And
I was
he
going to say
was
Marty
like,
Gellner wouldn't let you do it, so then you,
So my first time with him, he brings me down the press, like the staff eating area
Yeah.
at the Wild, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm buying dinner, kid. Like we're gonna meet everybody." And so he goes, "Yeah, she's shadowing me until Jamie Hirsch can show her what really happens." Be like, "Oh, you really do this?"
right.
I mean, he was so funny, and he gave me a ton of advice, and then we just continued to talk. Like we would go to Chipotle and talk about like how things were going, and
So-
at Canterbury, and
I asked him this question way back when he was on our show, and I'll ask it on yours and I'll ask it on mine. What, if you could cover, I'm getting kind of serious here.
I know you're like a.
If you could cover
Interviewing me.
anything. Well, this is like an interview. But if you could cover anything, what would it be?
College basketball.
You didn't even have to think about it. So, sideline reporter? You love basketball?
I love basketball. College basketball it'd be fun to host a show about it. I think sideline reporting wise, what would be the most fun?
So you want to do a studio?
I want to do
you
a lot of
either.
different things. Like that's the problem with me. Well, it's a good thing,
That's
but
not
it's
a
also the
problem.
problem. I think sideline for football. I'm more of a college sports fan. I think.
Yeah, no, I get that.
This year has been so busy that I haven't gotten to watch a ton of stuff, but I'm hoping I can watch a bunch of college basketball once things get
So that's
rocking around. And
I would have never guessed that.
I just
honestly.
really, I've just always liked the passion that goes with college sports because there's just something else to it.
Right.
You're not just playing
It's not
for money. You're
right.
there because you've got this like internal drive.
It's
and
still
passion
not
for it.
completely jaded.
Yeah, and
What-
there's a lot of with college basketball specifically. It's a lot of pass basketball, which is a lot more exciting for me to
Yeah,
watch
no,
than a
it's
guy
true.
taking it down the court and dunking. Like
The
big
Gopher
freaking
women?
deal.
They should be pretty
Yeah.
good this year.
Yeah, I used to go to all the games when Lindsay Whalen played for them.
Yeah, actually we did too.
That was fun.
When my kids were little, I think they were sort of fascinated that women played sports, and it was actually the Gopher basketball was kind of dysfunctional. But we used to go to women, same Lindsay Whalen, that whole run, and they loved it. We used to go all the
It
time.
was so fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Well, Rachel Bannum's pretty good.
Yeah. I guess I just like I don't know. I like college kids too. Like it makes me feel like I'm in college. So I think
Well, you're
I
so
am still
old
in
now.
college. I know. I'm so mature.
These college hi there.
I'm so mature. I didn't do it.
What?
Didn't
I
say
know.
hi. Oh,
They're not okay.
am I supposed to be done now?
Are we
Sorry,
done?
I'm done.
Okay.
In the next
Well,
30 seconds, you have to be done. Okay.
I was going to ask you what you wanted to do. Like if you could cover anything before you hit the music.
I'm about to cover a hot turkey sandwich.
Okay, he wants to be Emerald. That's great. Stay tuned. Aaron will next be on the Food Network.
The next to the Food Network.
Well, thanks for having me. I probably, again, thanks for everyone listening. I'll never be back.
Thanks for coming. So let's plan for now
I'll be there.
on
Just come
Monday
on right
at
in.
2:30.
Cool.
Apples to apples.
You'll hear some disturbing things.
And if
but
I'm not there,
we'll start without you.
don't just start without me like today.
Yeah.
It works
Yeah.
better that way.
Wear a different hat, though. You can't be seen with the same hat twice.
I know, like the hot dog fold.
It's so
in it.
gauche,
It's
yeah.
so
It's
big.
so gauche.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, we will be at McGovern's every Thursday at 3:30 during home games, 5 o'clock every other Thursday night. We will see you on Monday for the Sports Ticket. I'm Kendall Mark for Kevin Gorg. Thank you for listening.